Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface. The game Destiny and I have what I can only describe as a love-hate relationship. When I first heard about it many years ago, I couldn't be more excited if I tried. First of all, it was being brought to us by the creative minds behind the Halo franchise, and that in itself was enough to stir anybody's loins. On top of that, it was going to be an MMO. Hello. And then on top of that, it was going to have RPG elements. It was ticking every single solitary box. And not only did this appeal to myself, but because of this amalgamation of genres, it was appealing to all my friends as well. Suddenly, we thought we were going to have the ultimate social game for everybody to be involved with. When the beta rolled around, there were a couple of concerns, but absolutely not with the gameplay. The gameplay was really tight indeed. PvP was so much fun, leveling up was a good laugh. The concern came in the longevity of it. I mean, we were told that what we were experiencing in the beta was going to be the tip of the iceberg, and we had to take that on faith. But when the beta took us to level 8, and then rumours started to circulate that the top level was 20, people started, like myself, to get a little bit of itchy feet. But we had our fears alleviated when we were told that the game only begins at level 20, and there was this new levelling up system which would kick in on top of that. So I decided, silly, I don't know, I'm too cynical nowadays, but I decided to take that on trust. So when the release date came out, of course, me, like millions upon millions of others, picked up a copy of Destiny. And like millions and millions of others, not only was I disappointed, but I left within the first month of the title's launch. So why was that? Why did so many people leave Destiny? Well, the simple fact of the matter is, it didn't live up to any of the hype that they'd generated around it. And when we'd seen so many developer interviews and how they were doing this and how they were doing that, and when none of it came to pass in the game, it felt cold, it felt sterile, it felt grindy, it felt boring. What happened to this really exciting concept? On top of that, the storyline didn't even make any sense whatsoever, with 0% of that going down to Peter Dinklage. I love that guy, and I thought his ghost voice was absolutely fantastic. So Peter, you've got a big fan here. But the story itself just didn't make any sense, it didn't merge together, and by the way that people were interacting with you, it was quite clear that they were setting up nothing more than those three dreaded letters, DLC. Yeah, the game felt like a whole scam. It felt like a complete con job. It looked like they'd had a story, they decided to cut the story up, and then they thought, wouldn't it be cool if we sold them back the story until it actually made sense? It didn't go down well with lots and lots of people, and that's another main reason why they flocked away from the game. Me being one of them, I still wanted to keep my ear to the ground to see whether or not this game could turn itself. I mean, the gameplay itself was so good and so tight, and the idea behind it was really cool. I just wanted something that made sense and was fun to play with. I didn't want to stand in front of a cave and shoot stuff to try and get my epics. I didn't want to just grind. I wanted fun elements, I wanted interactions, I wanted storyline, I wanted all of it. Well, you know, when you're forking out the kinds of money that we do nowadays, I think we're entitled to ask for these kind of things. But the first expansion came and went with, well, not much of anything really, and the second expansion pack came and went hot on the heels of that, and there was nothing there which said to me, return to Destiny Az. Nothing whatsoever. Then we started to get rumblings of noise about the first big expansion pack. And the reason why this one is being touted as so big, the Taken King, is because if you purchase the collector's editions, of course, of Destiny, you got the first two expansions as part of that. So this was going to be one that if everybody wanted to play it, everybody was going to have to pay for it. So our group of friends got together again and we all decided to give Destiny another go. This was literally going to be a make or break situation for us. If the Taken King wasn't going to be up to much, then that would be it. Our Destiny days would be complete and utterly over for good. And I think that's fair enough. I mean, we had heard that there were some severe changes being made to the game to make it more fun, to make it more interesting and accessible, and all the things that it should have been when it came out first of all. And so, yes, we all grabbed it. And I am literally amazed at how much fun I am having with the Taken King so far. With Dinklage gone, Nolan North coming in, big Nolan North fan, so I've got no problems with listening to him bark on in my ear every so often as the Ghost. But the gameplay, of course, well, that was always tight to begin with, and that hadn't changed a jot. It was phenomenal. But it was the story. At last we had an expansion where the story made sense. It was coherent and it was structured properly. And I really got into this. I suddenly, for the very first time in Destiny, started to give a shit. I started to give a shit what was going on. But probably what was more exciting for me was I was understanding what was going on by the way that these snippets of storyline were coming through. And another very interesting way that they were developing this story was, and I'm not giving too many spoilers away here, you got to a point as you were leveling up, if you didn't of course use all the EXP boosters and get to 40 in next to no time, where you could in theory complete the main storyline quest at around level 36 to 38, a few levels short of the top level. But it didn't stop there. Even though the main storyline came to a close, or at least came to its first epilogue, we got additional storylines on top of that. And the way that they'd structured the questing system allowed you to go out and do things in the sandbox areas that felt a little more, well, had definitely more synergy with what was going on in the game. The loot drop changes are a lot more fun. Seeing loot drop from a boss as opposed to going through a random slot machine was really, really cool indeed. Oh, I have got that legendary engram. Oh, I've got 3 blues. It's really, really cool. And on top of all of that, loot seemed to drop a lot more regularly on mobs out in the world anyway. And then we have the infusion system with the gear, where you're taking an item which you probably really like to have. It handles well, it's got good perks to it, and you don't want to give it up for something which might be more powerful but not too suitable for you. Well, you can infuse it. You take the more powerful armor, you take the more powerful weapon, and then infuse it with your current weapon and make your current weapon more powerful, or your current armor more powerful, or the ghost, which is now actually a useful object, more powerful, or the artifact, etc, etc. There seems to be more options when it came to armors, and more options in actually customizing your character and all that kind of stuff. But it's the sum of all of it. It's the collective. When you have a storyline which is interesting and engaging, and the characters you actually start to care for and get invested in, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that they let Nathan Fillion off his chain in this expansion, and he stole the show for me as Cade. His performance was fantastic. It had huge shades of Mal Reynolds, cheeky chappy but rugged hero at the same time. But you put the story, and you put the loot changes, and then you put the way that gear can be infused, and then you tie that together with the outstanding gameplay and the PvP system as it is, which is brilliant, and suddenly you have a rounded, phenomenal, fun experience. And to me, it's as if for the very first time Destiny has come out of beta testing. It's the last year that's gone by. They were testing things out, seeing what was working, PvP, gameplay, see what was not working, everything else. And then they decided to make those changes, and the Taken King is where the game really should have come out, and that's where it's going to lead the franchise forward for the next 10 years. I can only hope that they really do look at the Taken King and say this is the benchmark which we need to strive to. And I don't know how long I'm going to stay invested in this. I mean, there's only so many patrol missions I can do. There's only so much I can do for grinding my gear up till it comes to a degree. I'm looking forward to when the raids are coming out, and hopefully that will start to take over the fun and interesting elements of the game, which I'll be looking for at that point. But then, maybe once I've gone through all of that, I'll be saying to myself, yeah, I am looking forward to the next expansion. I am hoping that the next expansion is going to come out sooner rather than later, and it is of akin to what the Taken King has brought to the table. So if you have played Destiny before and left it feeling as if it just didn't deliver what you wanted, I'd actually highly recommend checking out the Taken King. And if you've never played Destiny at all, then you're probably in the best situation that you can possibly be, because you can buy the Taken King with the original Destiny game and the first 2 expansions for the same price as a regular game. So your value for money is absolutely fantastic. But for me, and I'm sorry to get a little bit selfish here, but for me, this is the game that I wanted, or at least it's showing definite degrees of the game that I really, really wanted Destiny to be. And I can only hope and pray that this is how it carries on for the future. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.